Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We're so pleased to have in the studio and remotely our friends from Digital Promise. Joining us is Bianca Alvarado, Director of San Diego STEM Pathways Initiative for Digital Promise. How you doing there, Bianca?
Hello, Drew. Good to see you.
Always good to see you as well. And joining us remotely is Christina Luna. She's the Chief Learning Officer for Center for Learners Pathways for Digital Promise. How you doing, Christina?
I'm also doing great. It's Happy Friday.
It is Happy Friday. What neck of the woods are you in?
I'm in the Bay Area in Redwood City, California.
Very, very good. And I'm sure, as you are fully aware, that seems like half of California is always under some fire stuff. It's now moved down to San Diego, as I'm sure Bianca has told you. Have you been safe? Anything up in your neck of the woods in the last year? Probably yes, right?
We've been okay here recently, but really, really saddened to hear about what's happening in LA and now San Diego too.
Yeah, unfortunately, my high school was the victim of that. Palisades High burnt down, and I still can't believe it. But I think we have a little bit of a reprieve in San Diego as the winds have died down, and which I hope is the same thing in LA. And we're expecting rain down here, which is good. So first and foremost, give our thoughts to those unbelievable first responders that have been trying to keep as many people as safe as possible. Christina, talk about Digital Promise. What's the mission? How'd you get involved in it? Why is it so cool, and everything in between?
Great. I'd love to share a little bit about that. So Digital Promise was originally authorized by Congress to accelerate innovation in education. And it was authorized under the Bush administration and then signed into law under the Obama administration. The vision was really to think about how we could harness the power of digital technology to advance learning. And our work has, over the last decade plus, really focused at the intersection of educators, innovators and technologists, and researchers. We try to build bridges and collaborations among those groups. Our original effort was to convene what we call the League of Innovative Schools, which is a professional network of school district leaders, superintendents from around the country who are really committed to innovation, to trying new things, to implementing research-based practices, and to sharing their experiences and knowledge with one another. Through the League and our networks of school district partners, we've identified that there are a number of kind of special focus areas, program areas that districts would really be supported if we could do more work in those areas. And one of those is supporting learner pathways. So that's the team that Bianca and I work on. We're the Center for Learner Pathways, and our focus is on supporting learners throughout their lifelong learning journey from early childhood to workforce, ensuring that they have opportunities and resources and tools to be able to navigate transitions. We know that when you move from school to school, from geography to geography, from a learning institution to an employment institution, it's hard to make those transitions. And having more supports and more resources and innovations that can make that transition a smooth one is what we're all about.
So when you, and you can answer this too, Bianca, I'll start with Christina on this. So when you work with a learner, so to speak, at whatever grade level, and do you follow that learner through his or her, schooling, and then into maybe, college, and then job, and then so forth? And when does it stop, or does it ever stop?
That's a great question. Our work is mostly with organizations and institutions that serve learners.
Right.
So we're thinking about how we can get technology into the hands of learners so that they can keep track of their learning information throughout their lives. So we do work with digital credentials, micro-credentials, as well as learner wallets, a new idea of keeping track of all of your learning information and skills and experiences throughout your life in a wallet, just kind of like your Apple or Google Pay wallet might be in your phone, so that you don't have to start over your journey. Too often we hear stories about learners who have to begin again because they switched institutions or job areas or things like that, and they have to start back at square one. Our hope is that with some of these innovations, that doesn't have to be the case.
Yeah, there's no question. And I know you work closely with one of our Classroom of the Future Foundation board members, Devin Vidishka, of course. And the guy's brilliant, learner-centered, collaborative, and so forth on this. So, Bianca, what got you into this? We first got to know you when you worked with the amazing Perla Myers over at USD, the Jacobs Institute. What got you so interested in Digital Promise?
Yes, thank you, Drew. So I joined Digital Promise now almost a year ago. It's been, and with the mission of helping them initiate this San Diego STEAM Pathways initiative as a director, and really being able to use my full skills and abilities, and a lot of what I was doing a lot in the community already, which is connecting with different industry leaders across industry in order to support what Christina is describing, institutions to better serve students and help them get in STEAM pathways, especially those students who have been historically and systematically excluded.
Yeah, Christina, do you work with a colleague of mine and Charles Parisi, and of course Charles is on your committee. We're going to talk about that advisory committee in a few minutes here. But somebody I've worked with for quite a while now, and Charles knows him as well. And I think Devin does too, and that's Peter Sibley of Journey's Map. Are you familiar with Peter?
That's a name that doesn't sound familiar to me. I would love to learn about something called Journey's Map, though.
So he came up with, he's been in the education business for many years, got 7 patents. EdGate is one of the groups he works, he's owned up in Gig Harbor. But Journey's Map is literally a career map, exactly how you just described it, where no matter where you are, whether you're an 8th grader, whether you are a senior in college, whether you are transitioning from the military, it lets you know what your next pathway is, all tied to, just things that are way above my pay grade, and how he makes this thing happen. He's been doing it, for quite a while now. They actually presented at the White House as part of Michelle Obama's Reach Higher Challenge. But what you just said is exactly right. And I've been fortunate enough to work with Peter for many years. And the idea is, listen, you're making a transition from X to Z, but you don't have to start over. I mean, you're 80% there. You just have to know how do you finish the next 20%. So I'm going to make a point to put you and Peter Sibley together, because this is a no-brainer. And I think hopefully Charles agrees with me that this is a great match. Exactly, in this area. I'll start with you on this one. Bianca, we're chatting with Bianca Alvarado, Director of the San Diego STEM Pathways Initiative for Digital Promise, joined by her colleague, Christina Luna. She is the Chief Learning Officer for the Center for Learners Pathway for Digital Promise. Talk about this infamous committee. What's the committee all about, Bianca? And I know you guys had a committee meeting recently. Classroom of the Future Foundation, thank you very much, has been a part of this as well. Talk about the committee, Bianca.
Yes, so we have 14 advisors who are part of the advisory committee, and we meet monthly with them as part of the San Diego STEAM Pathways Initiative. And they represent cross-sector industry, all the way from preschool, all the way to industry. So we have superintendents from high school, elementary school, Biocom representing industry there, higher education, Southwestern College, UCSD Extension, to name a few, and really come together so that they can co-design and build on things that they're already working on, because this is something that we have identified here in San Diego, and something also that I have seen through my 10 years of careers here in San Diego, is that there's a lot of silo working. In San Diego, there's great work happening around San Diego, but there's a lot of silo working and new initiatives being created, but they're not connecting and contributing to each other and working together in order to get that systemic change that we need. So the outcomes can continue to be the same because we're not doing change at a systemic level. So there's no long-term sustainability change for students here in San Diego to get them to those careers, high-paying careers and opportunities that are coming up here in San Diego for those students. I don't know, Christina, if you want to add a little bit more to that.
Yeah, please, Christina. What would you add to that?
That was great, Bianca. The only thing I would say is that, we are so grateful to Bianca's leadership in helping to develop this growing network of partners, advisors, and kind of friends and colleagues who are interested in braiding things together in a way that can be more systemic and ensure that more learners have access to all of the inspiring things happening across the region.
We come back from break, Christina and Bianca. What I want to do is chat about what does success look like. How's this committee done right out of the gate? The meeting, for about a year now or close to it or whatever the case may be. Are you happy how that's performed? What can be done better? I'm sure you'll get feedback from the committee, and they'll be happy to give you their 2 cents, and you can give them change back if you want in that area. And then, of course, what our listeners can do to support Digital Promises efforts. Our listeners are very much engaged in community efforts such as education and the future and innovation as well. So be thinking about that when we return with Christina Luna, Chief Learning Officer for the Center for Learners Pathways to Digital Promise, joined by her colleague, Bianca Alvarado, Director of San Diego STEM Pathways Initiative for Digital Promise. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 19th year, brought to you by amazing folks of Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. So cool to have in the studio and remotely with us our friends from Digital Promise, Christina Luna, Chief Learning Officer for the Center for Learners Pathways, and joined by her colleague Bianca Alvarado, Director of the San Diego STEM Pathways Initiative. We've been talking about the vaunted San Diego STEM Pathways Community Advisory Committee. Christina, and you can add in this as well. Bianca, have you been happy how the committee has performed? You can be honest. Charles is sitting right here. He's a big boy. He's got thick skin. But we'll start with you on that, Christina. How's it gone? And are you pleased with the progress?
Yeah, I'm so grateful to this committee because we have leaders who represent the entire continuum from early childhood, K-12, 2-year and 4-year post-secondary, representatives, as well as industry, who are taking time out of very, very busy schedules to meet with us monthly to design some ideas that could be turned into solutions that could strengthen and and build some of those systems change elements that we're talking about in the STEM ecosystem in San Diego. I think that, the work that the advisory has been doing has been tremendous. The time that folks are contributing, not just in our meeting times, but also the introductions and connections that they're making to adjacent ideas and efforts, is really making our experience so much richer. And we get each month to hear from one of our advisors and the work that they're doing, and that helps ground us and inspire our design work. The vision of this group is really to follow an inclusive innovation process where we are taking ideas from kind of connecting as a group, building trust, inspiring each other, questioning what's working and what's not in the region, to then design and prototype and gather input to ultimately, ideally, get support, philanthropic or public support, to advance these solutions as long-term projects in the region. So we are, like you said, we are a little bit more than halfway through our journey together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, Bianca, and the add to this too, Christina, success will look like, and you're just getting there, but now you've, met with the group for a while, whatever that a while is, you're moving forward. And now, hey, listen, let's execute something, let's implement something, let's pilot something, Southwestern College, or I'm making up stuff, or Classroom of the Future, or LVIC, whatever. Okay, good. Now we'll test it, we'll pilot it, and look at the results. They've done X, Y, and Z. We've increased the footprint of STEM or STEAM, which I love, to be honest with you, because of my background in reading and arts and all that. And now you go out to the Pew Foundation or the Gates Foundation or the Charles Parisi Foundation, which he's going to form effective immediately. Exactly. And say, listen, we got some results. We need to go ahead and expand this. And so is that sort of the idea, Bianca, behind all this?
Yes. So our mission is to put 100K or more students in STEM pathways,
right,
for students here in the region. So any initiatives that the advisors co-create in getting to that goal, that's our mission here, to get those students, economically sustainable jobs for them. I also think like another part of the advisory committee that is important and meaningful is that the advisors that are co-creating they're just doing that, right? Designing and co-creating together. No one's telling them like, you have to do this or you have to meet this specific requirements. They have taken the time to assess through that model that Christina mentioned, the inclusive innovation model, with resources from Digital Promise that they have implemented in other regions in the U.S. And maybe you can also mention, Christina, some of the work that is being done across the nation from Digital Promise. But taking all those resources and learned experiences that Digital Promise has and being able to implement them here in San Diego and create a case study of what can be done at a regional city level and use it as a case study for other cities across the U.S. And it takes time to build that trust, to build that relationship, because we see without a lot of initiatives, they just jump into timelines, projects, milestones, and all that meaningful trust work is not created. So that's a very important step that we have taken to make this like really meaningful and rooted in trust.
Well, and we all know that is so critical, Christina. We've seen so many well-intentioned initiatives, over the zillions of years people try to do these things. None of them wants it to fail. But it takes, that level of trust we just talked about, really wanting to work, collegial, which is so important. And whether this person stays on the committee or not, or the person they bring somebody else in, it's that ultimate goal this is what's going to be benefiting certainly the region itself, and of course the students and everything that comes with it. I think San Diego, we're a little prejudiced. It's a great incubator for it. I mean, how much innovation is coming out of San Diego? Are you kidding me? Biotech and everything that we're doing, certainly a hub for that. So it's a perfect area. Christina, how are the school districts reacting to it? And at least the ones that are connected with the advisory committee. I know we got Matt Tessier there. Matt, longtime educator, was assistant soup at Chula Vista. Now he's at the Linda Vista Innovation Center with Jane, a classroom of the future, of course, in this area. So, are the districts embracing this, Christina?
I think that the district voices that we have on the advisory are bringing so many great ideas and elevating where innovation is already happening,
Right.
to be able to think about how to expand those outside the walls of maybe one school district to an entire region. And Matt's leadership and partnership is really critical to that, because the county office is the way that we can spread the word, that we can engage even more partners in thinking about how to strengthen STEM pathways for learners.
Right. And I know the things that we're so interested in at CFF, of course, have been doing this since 1997. And, we're very proud of, the relationship we have with those 43 superintendents. And that gets back to what you and Bianca were just talking about, is that trust factor. We can't do enough, and you guys are doing it. I'm preaching to the congregation, of course. To support the unbelievable learning that you mentioned, Christina, is already going on. It needs to be elevated. And don't think this just happened yesterday. They've been working on it for a while. So I think that's great. And any voice like Digital Promise, with the kind of folks that you have engaged in it, is going to be great. And the ultimate benefactor, of course, is going to be the students in this area. I'll start with you on this, Bianca, and then pivot over to Christina. What can our listeners do to support your efforts? Now, you can't have 3 million people on the advisory committee, of course, but what can they do to support the advisory committee and you and Christina?
Yeah, so we'll share our website with you, Drew, so you can add it maybe in the notes, and they can visit the website and sign up for the newsletter, where we give out monthly updates of how the advisory committee is progressing. So that's one way. We always are seeking out community input as the advisor starts to create the different initiatives, and like community input, industry input, family input. We were just talking to BLCI, give us a presentation of how even family like Hispanic families can lead workshops. So like Christina was saying, elevating those voices. So that diversity of perspective, of input, we're seeking out. So we're inviting anyone who wants to be part of those community input sessions to seek out if they're not already on our newsletter.
That sounds great. Christina, what would you like to add to that?
I mean, all the things that Bianca said. Plus, we want to continue to elevate all of those bright spots that are happening across the region. So we'd like to be able to highlight the work of others in our newsletter so that becomes more visible to a broader group of folks. And we'd like to be able to find more connections and opportunities. So grateful to Bianca for making so many of those connections. And now to you too, Drew, for the connection you just made in this conversation. But, I think that the more we can learn together about what's been working well and make that more visible, the closer we'll get to widespread support for learners.
Okay, so I'm going to make a promise here to you folks, no pun intended. Maybe there's a pun intended, who knows? That at minimum, once a quarter, we'll have you guys back on with something to shine a light on things that have come out of the committee. So, once a quarter, let's get you back on. Let's highlight some of the great innovation that's going in, bringing a person that has been knee deep in this, and then consistently, shout that out. How's that sound?
We would love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Drew.
Yeah, we'll consider that a done deal. Wishing you nothing but great success, Christina. Luke Luna, Chief Learning Officer for the Center for Learners Pathways, Digital Promise, just doing great work. My friend and colleague, Bianca Alvarado, so good to see you in the studio. Bianca, Director of San Diego STEM Pathways Initiatives for Digital Promise. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We are now in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County. They are amazing. We hope you all enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.